if you believe that, and you hear it enough times drummed into you, your subconscious works off of your repetition. And you think you might catch that cold?
You're going to catch it.
More than likely, because your body system or subconscious will lower your immune system so that it's going to be harder to fight germs. So therefore, the power of suggestion. And or how about, don't go to school, Johnny, you got a cold. Well, Johnny apparently doesn't like school, so you just rewarded him. And he's going to go, oh, he likes not going to school, and what kept him was being sick, so let's keep him sick. That's where hypochondriacs are created from.
Well, Chris, like when I was in high school, remember I mentioned that was one kind of part of my life I didn't like. I had a tendency maybe to go to school. I think I went the whole last year of school. I went 13 days. And they graduated me because they didn't want me back another time around. But I had myself convinced, that, my mom would say, and I would be feeling really good, I was more interested in running around with my car and running around with my friends than go to school. And, my mom would say, hey, you look really sick. Well, by the next morning, I was sick. And I going, oh, wow. Then I'd be sick in bed for a couple of days and, with a bad cold, which I felt totally good till she said that.
There's your power of suggestion.
Well, it works.
One of the doctors I worked with, he said it's happened to other doctors. When they're taking their training to become a doctor, they study a lot. They often get the symptoms of what they're studying at the time. He said he was studying about rashes, and the next morning he woke up scratching, itching, and he physically had a rash on his arm. That's how strong your body system, your subconscious can affect you. It can change. Like if you cut yourself, your conscious doesn't fix it. It doesn't go heal, heal, heal. It's got a short attention span. But you do heal because your subconscious mends it. So the power of suggestion, you got the rash because you were studying about it. So be careful, again, how you talk to yourself. A lady I met one time on her list, she said that every time she went over to her daughter and son-in-law's place, she got a headache. Or neck pain. And I said, by chance, because I've done enough of these, I said, do you like your son-in-law? And she goes, no.
Yeah.
What do you think of him? And she said, I think of him as a pain in the neck. I said, well, at least he didn't say a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
So I said, lose that thought. And after that, she said it was fine. Because the subconscious does listen to what you say. Expressions like, I'm sick and tired of this, sick and tired. Don't say those things because it will react to it. Or I have a terrible memory. I can't remember names. You're just creating your memory problem.
Okay, now...
One of the stupidest ones...
Go ahead, Chris.
But the stupidest one, just to finish, is that people get the stereotyping. Oh, you're getting older. You are going to start forgetting things. That's a load of crap. They've proven age has nothing to do with your memory. It's believing it.
Well, here's a question I'm going to ask you. Remember I mentioned to you that on the 7 computers, I went and changed the passwords because I got mad at somebody. And I went and changed it. And then I couldn't remember that no matter how hard I tried, I could not remember the password. And it turned out to be a very, very simple password when I found out. But I mean,
1, 2, 3, 4.
He pretty close to it, and I can't. Something in my mind shut off purposely, where it was like maybe a payback for doing it, because not just that, but my son is a producer of the show, and my wife's a producer of the show also. And first thing I heard from my son, he was mad because I did it. The next thing I hear out of my wife is, how much money did it cost? And, I felt like a total idiot. But I honestly, when I took them in and he told me what the password was, I remembered it all the way home. And guess what? As soon as I got home, I forgot the password that he told me it was. And it was something simple. So I don't know if it was because of being upset or there's a block in my head.
Well, you triggered something. It's hard to say. Like if you'd done a session with me, I could have found it for you.
It would have been a lot cheaper, probably.
Come down to Mexico, yes.
Believe me, I would like to. 80-some degrees. Come on, Chris. Compared to sitting up here where I go down the flight of stairs and it's icy and I'm worried about slipping down again and messing my leg up again for the fourth time in a year. No way.
Ouch. See, a lot of my stuff I do on internet, or like I've done some shows using Skype, which I find handier because then I got a headset in my hands free instead of holding this getting warm. I have a flip phone too, just to show you that I got to catch up to the century. But they have a system. I bought a SIM card, and you pay 150 pesos for 4 weeks, and you get unlimited.
Well, how much is
that? I didn't get back at home.
How much is a peso?
150 pesos, it's about $10 is what I pay for 28 days unlimited to North America. And I know
I'm moving to Mexico, guys.
Show. Yeah. About 2 weeks ago, I did another show for a lady in Massachusetts, near Boston there, and it was a 2-hour thing, so I know how the phone works. And so it's definitely limited. If I was doing this back home, I'd be getting a higher bill.
I run Skype, but I don't like the quality of Skype. But my show has been growing so much, and for some reason, I'm getting a huge audience in Australia and in the UK. Because it's paranormal. Yeah. And what other countries, especially the UK, I mean, look at how far they date back. And I get a lot of guests that want to be on the show. Well, to me, Skype really sounds bad. And I've done Skype. It didn't sound good. I don't use Skype. But then I went to, I use, I don't use landline either, but I have a good connection how I do it.
Yeah.
So I sat there and, I call up my provider and I said, okay, I want to be able to, make these phone calls and get phone calls from the UK, and I want to get them from, blankety blank Australia, and you name it. I gagged when they told me how much it was a month. And I'm telling you, you got a deal. It was probably about, and they were close to $300 a month.
Yeah. See, if you go Skype to Skype, it's free.
Yeah.
Skype to a landline costs you a bit more. No, I use Skype all the time. I've done sessions from here. We stayed in Australia a couple of winters, and I was doing sessions back up in Canada, and it works fine. Years ago, the quality wasn't that good, but now that I think it's Microsoft or something bought it for a couple $100 or more. The quality is up because they promote it more for business to use, so naturally they got improved. So I have no problem using the Skype. Just that, I got another show next week, and he's using that Facebook online thing. But at least there, I don't have to hold the phone.
Yeah.
It's funny. I did go on the show once before, and it took me about 10 minutes to find the click on button so that people could hear me.
Well, the problem I have using Skype is, okay, I like I said, I run a bunch of computers. So when I run Skype, it goes into a computer, then it goes into a mixer. Actually, even before it goes into a mixer, it goes into a bunch of other things to clean up the sound and compress the sound. So the time it gets to the mixer and then back into the computer, it sounds like garbage, and I was told by the engineers, we can fix all that, but then you're going to have to suffer some other way. So I don't know. For me, I would like Skype because my audience is growing so much, and I'm probably going to have to start using Skype. But I mean, it seems like a lot of other people I know who are in the broadcast field like me, you kind of sometimes get an echo that you can't get rid of, and that's what the problem I've had.
Yeah, I've had a couple of times. I just redial and it disappears. Just have to get another line.
Yeah.
That type. Yeah, you just started this show lately, didn't you?
A little bit about me. I used to be in broadcasting before I married my wife 40 years ago. I used to be a DJ for a couple of the major stations in the Northwest. And then I did a talk show, and then I did a show called Loveline, where people would call up and I would hook them up, on dates, and the station would pay for their dates, to get a relationship going. And I did that, and then I've been married 3 times. The first two were like really short, but then my second wife said, no more broadcasting. You can't ride a motorcycle. You can't do any of this stuff. I gave it up and got a conventional job. And when I retired here recently, two things in my life, riding my Harley. Sorry, guys, I did ride Honda too. And I always, you know, I was a licensed amateur at 12 years old. And I have a big mouth, and you know, I figured, hey, I'm retired now. I'm going to do what I want to do. I don't have to, you know, report to anybody anymore other than to my wife. That's how I started the show. So it's actually on. It's about 2.5 months, and at this point, we're on all the major apps. And during the course of the week, we're literally getting thousands of people listening. A lot, like I said, in the UK, which shocked me because I was reading our statistics today. And it's probably like 30% is coming from the UK.
I know. I've done a tour there. My wife's from England. So I met her when I was doing some workshops and talks over there. And I was there long enough that you could bring back so much duty free, so I brought her back. She always loves that one, the first 100 times. Anyhow, but yes, in fact, to explain that, I work with my client. I always ask what country they're in. And, you know, in a session, you can be in 2 to 5 different lives. So I always keep track. I do a lot of stats, and I've kept track of all the different countries people have been in when I was working with them. And then I worked it out to find which countries the people have been in the most. And what do you think it is?
Norway?
Who?
Norway? Norwegians? I don't know. I really don't know. England. Yeah.
England.
Yeah, because they have, look at the history. Yeah. I mean, other than going back to the Vikings.
Yeah. Tons of stuff. So, yeah, a lot of times people have had more than one life in England, too. Just because somebody finished it, also, maybe finished the same one, and things don't change, so it looks the same, so familiarity. So, yeah, England has been the most common. Interesting enough, U.S. is the second highest, and it hasn't been around that long, but I've had more people that in that one. And the third biggest popular country was France. France is similar to England with a lot of the history.
Yeah, they're rich in history.
So there's some interesting stats.
Well, how about going back to the Roman days? Have you had any Roman gladiators or people that had that?
Oh, yeah. I've had a few dozen that they're in the arena and stuff like that. And actually, one guy was working with MS, multiple sclerosis. He wanted to find where it came from. Now, whether it disappears or not, I don't tell people, I guarantee you that part, but at least find out why. Once you find out why, inadvertently, or just backing up, like people that aren't sure about quitting, I'll say, let's just find out why you still quit. They weren't sure they wanted, because you have to want to quit. And then when they saw where it came from, they become a quitter. So sometimes it's easier to say, let's find out. He was a Roman soldier, very good gladiator in the arena, and he always won. But all of a sudden, his legs gave up on him, and he collapsed, and he was getting the MS in those days, too. And he was disgraced and embarrassed and stuff like that. And often common emotions. So I said to the guy in this life, he said, what is it? Well, let's put it this way. We bring in emotions from past life parenting. The biggest one we bring in is the stupidest one. It's called guilt. We bring in guilt like you wouldn't believe. That's what holds a lot of our aches and pains and guilt that you don't even really realize why you have it. You brought it in. The second and third most common emotion we bring in is doing something stupid and embarrassment. And the next one was like doing something stupid. Well, he felt he was stupid that his legs collapsed on him and that type of thing. And I said, in this life, does it bother you when you do something stupid? He said, oh, God, I can't stand it. And sure enough, it's because of that. Also, just a quick one, wear and tear does happen from emotions from previous lives. Common one, Gary, is a neck and shoulder pain. And I've had, I can't remember how many dozens, that they've gone back to a past life, generally female, unfortunately, because women weren't treated well. And they were carrying water with a yoke across their neck and shoulders and going down to the creek and back up to the farm. Some people doing this like 7 times a day, carrying big buckets. Well, you can imagine that this is going to cause wear and tear. But it's not that, it's the emotions. I'll say to them, how does that woman feel in that life? And the answer is like worthless, treated like dirt, nothing to live for. And I'll say, has that ever happened in your life? And they always say, my job.
Yeah.
But